But first, I want to bring in Buck Sexton, who's been monitoring the situation in Egypt, which has been rapidly unfolding. Looks like we have a military coup going on. Buck, good to see you. What's going on in Egypt?
Good seeing you, Tara. I'm calling it a coup. A lot of others are. If you were to look up in the dictionary, there's actually many definitions of what a coup would be, but I have to say, if you're looking at coup d'etat, this, I think, falls into that category. And I find myself among some of the downers, the naysayers here. While I saw this coming, and I had written about it on The Blaze, and as you know, I was in Egypt just about a week ago, and certainly all of the pieces were in place. I knew the resistance, the opposition, they call themselves the Tamarod rebel movement, that they were absolutely going to push millions into the streets. But the question now, Tara, is what happens next? Where does this take us? The fact of the matter is that deciding that it's not a coup because that sounds like an ugly, scary word does not change the reality. This was not done at the ballot box. This was done by mobs in the street. We may like those mobs more than the guys in charge, but we have to call it what it is if we're going to understand where this thing is heading.
Let me ask you a question, Buck. Who's claiming it's not a coup? Is that something that's coming from our government, from their government, because they want to smooth it over? Who's trying to make this seem something that it's not?
Well, it completely depends on which side of this issue you fall on. I mean, if you just were to go and look at some of the policy analysts out there on the different news networks right now, some are calling it a coup and some are absolutely furious at the usage of that term. This isn't a coup. This is a reinstallment. This is a reinstallment of democracy by completely undemocratic means. That's what they're saying. But so it really depends. The Muslim Brotherhood, and I've been saying this, they've been calling it a coup from day one. Just because the Muslim Brotherhood says it does not make it wrong. And in this case, it's a coup. Now, we can get beyond that because the reality is the Constitution has been suspended. The head of the Constitutional Court is now the interim president. He's effectively running the country, really the military is running the country through him as some sort of a puppet, I think, at this point. And they're hoping to have new elections at some point in the future. But guess what? Egypt still has a ton of problems. The economy is in free fall. The political fracture is absolutely deepening. And what happens to all the Islamists that were supporting Morsi in the first place? Tara, he has millions of people that not only supported him, but feel like that support has been ripped away from them through undemocratic means. Their judgment may be poor, but their sense of the situation right now is accurate.
Right, they're motivated. And that could be dangerous. I mean, we ran into this problem before when you had this quick turnaround to have elections, and that favored the Islamists, and we got what we got. So now here we are back to square one. It seems like, what do we need to look for? What do we need to be on the lookout for? What's to stop us from being in the same situation again with these radical Islamists seizing power, and then we have another coup in another year? Is this going to be the new normal now in Egypt?
Well, this is absolutely a revolution do-over, and that's what we have to call it, because that's what it is. Now, where we go from here, I think, is much more precarious than you're getting a sense of from turning on the live news feeds of Tahrir. There's, fireworks and celebration. Everyone thinks it's a big, happy moment to hold hands and praise the second iteration of the People's Revolution in Egypt. But we need to understand something. That the Muslim world has seen its fair share of tumult and upheaval when it comes to regimes coming and going. And if you look back to the 1990s, you can see places such as Algeria where Islamist resistance against a military government became incredibly violent, incredibly vicious.
That's right.
Now, I'm not saying that that's where Egypt is headed. I will say this, though. You do have factions that are avowed jihadists of some sort or another who are already releasing statements on the internet saying, we're going to fight this. You guys pretended to like elections, but you never really wanted elections. You just wanted to suppress Islam. Guess what? They're not going away. They're dedicated, and they renounced violence the Muslim Brotherhood did a few decades ago. They could decide to pull back on that at any point in time, and then we have a real problem.
That's right. Well, we're going to keep an eye on this, Buck. Thank you, and thank you for your reporting on this issue.
Always, Tara. Good talking to you.